Before we wrap up our selections for round 11, I just want to point out that last week I was the only person to tip Essendon in Dreamtime at the G. Now, you guys, you've got to think about this. 13 losses in a row, and I have tipped the upset.
Yeah, even a blind squirrel stumbles upon a nut every now and then, Diggo.
All right, let's have a look at some of the remaining games. Chief, the Cats vulnerable in 7th spot, but the Giants go down to GMHBA Stadium. Do the Cats get it done to keep themselves in the 8?
Well, you would think so. I was really surprised. I know Al will talk more about it, that the Giants have won their last couple down at GMHBA, but one of those was in the COVID period, so there was no crowd there. I just don't think it's the sort of game that the Cats are going to let slip. But again, I find the Giants a really difficult team to assess. Sometimes they're really super competitive, and we know they rely on Toby Green a hell of a lot, but I'd hate to be relying on them to do something for me, Al.
Well, Toby Green has a good record against the Cats and he kicked 4, I think, last time in that game down there. But to me, this is a bit of an injury watch. The Cats have a depleted midfield with Dangerfield and Guthrie out, but Josh Kelly's not playing for the Giants. And if they can get enough inside 50s Geelong, the Giants' backline's just been completely decimated. There's no Sam Taylor. Phil Davis is out for a while. They've also lost Nick Haynes and Harry Himmelberg this week to concussion. So you've got Tomahawk and Jeremy Cameron just sitting down there waiting. If they can get enough supply, I think they can kick a winning score. If
they can get the supply, that's the big call, because the Cats' midfield, as you say, no danger. It looks very, very different. Guthrie wasn't playing at the same level anyway. Tanner Bruin against his old team gets a real good crack at it, so it'll be a fascinating watch.
Al, the Suns host a game in Darwin against the Bulldogs Saturday night, but it's not really a home ground advantage, is it?
Well, their record is 2-2 in Darwin, the Suns, but the Dogs have won the last 6 when they've played up there. So, I don't think they'll be too bothered playing up in the heat and the tropics. But the Bulldogs, where we've talked about this, that their defence is where they've really strengthened up this year. They're not scoring as heavily as they have in the past, so not piling on the scores, but I reckon Ben King might have a date with Liam Jones this Saturday night.
How do you rate the Bulldogs? How do you think they're travelling?
They're like the Giants for me. I can't get a read on them. I tipped Adelaide last week. What does that tell you?
Well, so did I, unfortunately, and they found their 1 week to play the worst performance of the season. Yeah. But I think they've snuck under our guard because we were expecting that run and carry football that we saw them win a flag with. But as Al said, it's very defensively minded. They're making it incredibly difficult for the opposition to score. So all of a sudden you've got to take notice, and with a decent draw in the run home, I think the Bulldogs are going to be thereabouts.
All right, well, you've got a love-hate relationship or affair with the Crows because you tipped them last week and they got flogged.
I like them.
Yeah, but this is an interesting game on Sunday because they've got the Lions in Adelaide. This is probably the big test to say, you thought they should have been undefeated after the first 5 rounds. So they're an informed team. They had a mulligan last week.
Yep.
What do you see?
Well, they've got to bounce back. They're a much better team at the Adelaide Oval than they are away. And I can sit here and make a strong case for the way they're playing and the fact that they're super competitive. But I had tipped Brisbane, so it's very, very difficult. But I like what Matthew Nicks is doing with the Crows.
Yeah, I mean, putting some numbers on that, they average 100 points at home and 70 away. So
I'm in trouble.
So they do play better at home. I'm expecting Rory Laird and Lachie Neale both have great records against the opposition teams to both rack up a stack of the pill. But Brisbane have won their last 2 against the Crows at Adelaide Oval, so I reckon they can get it done.
I like the Crows, but the fact they didn't play Tex last week, were you surprised at that?
Yes.
Was that conceding that they weren't going to win in Ballarat?
Oh, I'm sure they wouldn't say that, would they? But it didn't help them, I don't think.
All right, let's look at the full round of tips. I'm showing some real courage here, Jason, by tipping the Swans and the Crows to cause the upsets. The Chief is not taking any risks and sticking with all the favourites, so you're a real letterbox, you are. Al, well, you're showing a little of your sentimental side by picking the Tigers to win their first game in life after Damien Hardwick. That's our show for the second week of the Sir Doug Nicholls round. Thanks, Al. Thanks, Jason.
Pleasure.
In the votes once again, you boys. I love it. Make sure you subscribe below and follow us on socials.
You know it's a better betting app when you've got stats and insights for every major game and race. Plus expert opinions from the best minds in the game. All in the palm of your hand. That's better. What's gambling really costing you?